When we get sick, we go to doctor. They revive us. And revival of a company is done by insolvency professionals. Can we say IPs are the doctors of the dead companies?
Yes, it will.
What kind of comfort does RAs get from this amendment bill?
I feel that comfort to the RA is very important. Grouping of all these assets would not only benefit the RA but would maximize the value of the CD, which this amendment bill has rightly recognized.
What motivated you to join this profession?
A lot of companies where we see the assets or subsidiaries are lying outside and they are the ones which have maximum value. Apart from that, they also have certain. If the default exists and if it is registered in the IU, that is basically going to be the main source of proof of existence of the debt. You have to empower RP with information. Without information, he cannot find a buyer. He cannot ensure that the assets of the CDs are protected.
There are few employees also who are also non-cooperating, actual custodian of those documents. Have you ever faced this kind of challenge?
You play an important role here by showing them what is in it for them. So, we sometimes even say that if he's a key employee, that the RA will probably take you in because you are the knowledge house.
Hello friends, I Karishma Rastogi on the behalf of Insolvency Professional Agency of Institute of Cost Accountants of India welcomes you all to the third podcast series of Insolvency Professionals. Today we have a very special guest with us, Ms. Neha Nemani, who is from Kanchan Shobha Debt Resolutions Advisors. So she is an insolvency professional and she is also a chartered accountant. So let us start with the podcast with her today. So before proceeding with the podcast, I just wanted to introduce her. Ms. Neha Nemani is a chartered accountant, US CPA with over 20 years of global experience, financial strategy, audit and corporate governance. Having worked extensively across India and United States, she brings a strong cross-border perspective to finance and business strategy. She has driven high-impact financial initiatives, SEC reporting, and US GAAP compliance programs at leading global organizations, including Amazon, Qualys, Grant Thornton, and BDO. So, since 2019, Neha has served as a managing director at KDRA Insolvency Professionals Pvt Limited. And her organization has handled multiple assignments under IBC. So she leads the firm with the IBC, bringing the strategic insights, stakeholders management to complex corporate insolvency resolution processes and liquidation assignments. I welcome you, ma'am, to our podcast. So how is your experience till now?
First of all, Karishma, thank you for a lovely introduction and thank you for having me here at this podcast series. Great initiative by the IPA. The experience so far has been lovely. IBC code has been around here for 10 years almost. And it has basically played a huge role and important role in basically turning around the credit outlook in the Indian market. So, and it has bring a big amount of change in the finance market and the industries here. So yes, it has been a good experience, a great experience.
She's coming all the way from Mumbai today.
Yeah.
So I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's really, I would say, encouraging for the insolvency professionals who are coming from pan-India and doing this podcast just to spread awareness amongst the IBC stakeholders. And this is really, I would say, appreciable from the side of IPA because we always encourage professional development amongst the insolvency professionals, and this is one of the most important thing which all IPs should also take on them as the responsibility to spread awareness amongst the stakeholders. Just wanted to begin with, to kickstart, I just wanted to know that what motivated you to join this profession?
So at the time when I moved back to India and COVID was setting in actually, but IBC kind of pulled me in because the kind of experience and the kind of the role that IBC requires is aligned with the experience as a chartered accountant and as a experienced professional you draw, having seen so many industries, even when in audit or in Amazon, you're dealing with so many stakeholders. You're balancing the interest of so many stakeholders.
Yeah.
And IBC is essentially that. The RP plays a critical role in balancing the needs of the stakeholders while ensuring compliance with the law, while ensuring that the underlying motive of IBC is established, and it's not only trapped in the procedural, aspect of it, and it's the ultimate business goal, the ultimate revival of the corporate debtor, and bringing about the economic changes, with generating employment or reviving the unit, or that is achieved. So, with all this background that I already had, so it made the most viable sense for me to get into the IBC. And so far, it has been a great journey.
That's so nice to hear from you. But that was really, I must say, that would have been a really challenging for you, because you have worked overseas with Grant Thornton and the other big companies. From shifting from overseas to here back in India, was that not a big challenge for you?
One, actually, something that really helped me is internationally, it is quite procedurally very clear. So the procedures that are followed, the deep diving that is done, the methods that are followed, and everything is very clearly laid out. So when I came in here, and IBC is also about processes and following the entire code and achieving the final motive while ensuring the processes are done. So we have our IP entity, we have systems in place. So that experience and that kind of helped in making sure that there are no gaps that are there.
Right.
And you basically have the deep dive. Whether it is a PUFE transaction, whether it is financial analysis, whether it is diving deep into the business and trying to understand who could potentially be interested in such a business.
True.
So, presentations, because the ultimate goal is to find a buyer, right? So then to basically be able to find a buyer, you should be able to market what is going to be good for him in that particular company.
Yes.
What is the value? So that presentation, and I think that, being in these organizations, you learn a lot of these presentation skills, as well as,
to manage
the managerial
people.
skills. Yes.
Yeah, that's very important under this IBC, because
definitely.
IPs should have that managerial skills. I would say that this is the most important thing, because they are leading as the face of a company while handling any assignment, be it in liquidation, be it in CIRP.
Correct.
So that's really true. You have joined KDRA as you have joined it as an IP, and you are handling many complex cases under this IBC. And I just wanted to know that what role does an IPE plays in this ecosystem, IBC ecosystem. Right now, IPE can also act as an insolvency professional.
Correct.
So is your IPE also acting as an IP?
Yes, in fact, KDRA or Kanchan Shubha Debt Resolution, we have already, as an IP, handling 5 cases. So some are directly allotted by NCLT, few by has been by ARCs. Banks, the public sector banks, have started empaneling IPEs. And I feel like the code and IBBI and rightly recognizing that this is a huge process which basically needs the entire team to run it. So recognizing IPEs and making it more professional and an organization-driven process will help drive better resolutions. And make sure that there are no procedural gaps as such. With like our IPE has a legal team, compliance team, a chartered accountants team. For instance, the smallest thing, like even if you find out the fraud and you cannot while you're relying on the transaction auditor, while you're relying on the external advocates to file the application. But it is the RP, or it is, the team internally who knows the most about the company.
Yeah, true.
Because they are the one who have taken it over from.
Yes.
So they know the most. So basically, they should be able to give the feedback to the transaction auditors. They should be able to give the feedback to the attorney to have pointed applications,
Right.
which will make NCLT's job easier. So I can tell you where I was saying about deep dive, where we went to the extent of taking all these documents and all these plant and machinery invoices, etc. And in seeing those, we came to know that actually the invoicing was done in the CD, but the delivery was done to a sister concern. So these are the things that if these documents remain with us, there's no way a transaction auditor would know. So that's why you need an entire team. That's why you need the IPEs. And I completely think that this would drive better resolutions.
Yes, true. Because to manage a huge company, one should have a support system with them.
Correct.
And IPE gives you like a big team to handle such complex cases in an easier way, or not an easier way, but still in an efficient manner.
Correct.
That's true.
Correct.
There are many gray areas we all know under IBC, and many of them have been recently, I would say, has been taken up by IBBI, and which are now coming up in the form of IBC Amendment.
Yes.
Which is recently approved by the cabinet also.
Yes.
So, how do you find the compliance part of this all?
Right.
Process?
So compliances are necessary.
Yes.
I completely I'm a supporter of compliances, because we as an organization are supporter of compliances, because without compliances it is the system is handicapped. There's no responsibility. There's so it is necessary. There are certain certain times we feel that there are duplicate in compliances where you're reporting to NCLT, you're reporting to IBBI, you're reporting to IPA. So, there are multiple agencies. But I think the regulatory system recognizes that, and it has become streamlined, over the time. And now there is like more of a single platform rather than, having multiple forms filled at multiple.
Right.
And I think it is still, evolving, because and I would say it is evolving at a great speed, like over 9-10 years. The gaps that are recognized are being addressed in the amendment bills. And more than even this setting of the law, the intent of the law and the interpretation of the law and execution is so important. Because, how much ever the government lays it out on the bill, but unless and until the true intent and, the interpretation is not clearly understood, it is very hard to kind of get it right. But I feel there is a lot of development. There's and there's going to be more and more development. And now, as we are moving to IPEs, these compliances will become streamlined. There will be automation. There will be a lot of AI, or you can say technology support around these compliances, which would basically drive same compliances in NCLT, IBBI would be automatically reported. So so that will come. I can foresee that should come.
Like day to day, we even being I would say employee of IPA. Even us, we are also dependent upon the AI system, to be honest, because AI plays a very important role. Like there are many applications, ChatGPT is there, Copilot is there. So for the working to just, I would say, to have a fast responses, or we can say to give a good, I would say, prompt responses to our IPs, we also use it. But I really appreciate one thing, that this time IPs are handling it without any support from the tech. So AI plays a very important role, because it is a need of an hour.
Yes.
It should be there for insolvency professionals to resolve the problems which they are facing in day-to-day life, especially if I talk about individual IPs also, they do not have the support system. But if there is any kind of tech, any kind of AI application, it would really be help for all
Yes,
of them.
definitely.
And that should be
Yes,
they are in the
and
system.
yes,
And
yes.
I think it will be soon in the
Definitely.
system. Yeah.
Although like AI without manual intervention would be a chaos. Like
Yes.
it has to have a manual intervention. It has to have somebody look into it. But
Yeah.
like multiple reporting, like
Yes.
it can be streamlined. Like
Streamline.
so
Right. Now I think most of them are already addressed by IBBI. So right
Yes.
now the complex reportings for the insolvency professionals have been reduced. The CIRP forms are reduced now.
Yes.
We have introduced liquidation forms, but
Yes.
still,
But still, yeah, I
that
mean,
was really needed.
Yes.
Because liquidation was not having any reporting earlier.
Yes.
And now we are coming up with the reporting of PG also.
Yes,
So we
that I
are-
saw. But yeah, you rightly pointed out as well, compliances are needed
Yes.
to make sure it is structured,
Yes.
to make sure there are proper responsibilities that
Yes.
are. Yes,
That is about a check and balance on oneself.
agreed.
If we are doing compliance, it's just a check and balance about ourselves, that whether we are compliant, because it saves us from many legal proceedings as well.
Correct.
There are some cases, some people who are having this disciplinary cases against them, but if they are compliant, if they are doing their compliances on time, so it also saves them from these legal proceedings.
Yes.
That's true. Ajay, tell me, recently this cabinet has approved the amendment bill. Do you really think that India needed it?
Definitely. This bill has, I would say, few critical, items that it has addressed, which is obviously needed for India to get into the international platform, like cross-border insolvency, group insolvency. And these two, I think, was very much needed, although the underlying laws and rules are still to be placed. But there are a lot of companies where we see the assets or subsidiaries are lying outside, and they are the ones which have maximum value. So I think these two were the need of an hour for sure. And then for Indian economy, the creditor-initiated insolvency,
Yes.
with an opportunity to the CD
Yeah.
to basically give a resolution, and that too time-bound, was needed, because right now what was happening is the NCLT was burdened with the applications, and then the OTS proposals would come. This would basically, reduce the burden on NCLT, because before going to NCLT, there is an opportunity given that we are going to file an application, or we are going to go for the creditor-initiated process. That basically gives a whole room of early resolution.
Yeah.
So I think these three are the most, as I see, are very important and needed changes in the 2015 amendment. But apart from that, they also have they have reinforced certain laws which are already in the code. For instance, the time-bound admission. It is there currently in the code as well, where NCLT is required to admit the Section 7 application if the default exists within a time-bound manner. But this is reinforcing.
Yes.
Obviously, when the actual implementation happens, we'll see how it flows. But,
Yeah.
There are these reinforcing amendments which also would play a big role.
Yeah, truly pointed out this creditor-initiated insolvency process that will really work out, I would say. So, Ajay, tell me that there are IUs also.
Yes.
So, they have not made any change, or I would say they have not emphasized on the IU part. So, what is the reason, or
in the amendment bill, in fact, they have said that if the default exists and if it is registered in the IU, that is basically going to be the main source of the proof of the existence of the debt, then the NCLT should admit the claim. So IU is going to play a big role And already, like I see in Mumbai, there is NCLT benches are not considering applications which are not registered in IU. So they are referring it back or rejecting it. And we have like a one dedicated bench towards admission of IBC matters. To probably quicken up. So I think there are proactive measures which are taken. Obviously, there are vacancies which needs to be filled. Processes need to be expedited. But again, this is reinforcing.
Yeah, true. One of the, I would say, most talked about right now amongst the IPs, that is removal of CD's power to nominate IRP. So
Yeah.
what do you say about that? So it's a reform which is going to take place.
Yeah, so in IBC code, in section 10 application, where the CD itself could initiate, they had the power to basically appoint an RP.
Yes.
But, which really did not, you can say, effective, because the financial creditors would anyways change it. So now they've given those powers to NCLT. To basically appoint based on the IBBI list, which is again a welcome change, which is basically going to reduce the time spent in the change of RP, the application for change of RP and all that. So I think there are a lot of steps that are taken to reduce the timelines as such.
And there was a serious problem about the non-cooperation thing.
Yeah.
So non-cooperation, how do you elaborate this non-cooperation part? In what ways non-cooperation was there?
So when RP is holding such an important position, where he is trying to find a resolution to a company which is already probably either working at a really low scale or almost, in its deathbed. But you have to empower RP with information. Without information, he cannot find a buyer. He cannot ensure that the assets of the CDs are protected.
Yes.
And that information essentially comes from the previous management. The amendment bill for sure extends that responsibility from the current directors to the previous directors to the employees to the managers. And the managers are actual custodian of the information.
Yes.
So getting them into this whole process, and nobody wants litigation, nobody likes litigation. So it would probably get RP into a better position and give him more information. Like in one of my cases, I would say it was a company which had like a software application which was its main asset. It was when I'm trying to find, it would just go into liquidation if I don't find that software application. So then we had the software application, but what is the underlying code? How does it? What is the benefit of that software? What are the customers? So we somehow got in touch with the employees of that company. We somehow got them into the process and appointed them with the permission of the creditors in the process. They have interest in it, and then they ran the software for the potential buyers to get them interested, because as an RP you cannot be a tech, you cannot be a finance expert of all. So you need to have that support. So that's why that cooperation is important.
Right.
And that's why you need those employees, those custodians, the actual people who had that information. So
I understand, but some of the cases I have, my IPs who are with us, they have told us that there are few employees also who are also non-cooperating, who are the actual custodian of those documents. So have you ever faced this kind of challenge?
So they get actually threat from their directors. So then they are under the pressure of not sharing the information. But then you play an important role here by showing them what is in there for them, what is in it for them. So, we sometimes even say that if he's a key employee, that the RA will, probably take you in, because you are the knowledge house. Okay, so you have to show, explain them what is the process. You have to explain them that if they share what is in it for them, how will they benefit? Yeah, it is difficult, but you have to. That's why the stakeholders management is an essential part of IBC.
Yes, true. So if we talk about RAs, this bill gives comfort to them too, or what kind of comfort does RAs get from this amendment bill?
So, for resolution applicants, I feel they are the most important in this process because, like IBC was not for recovery mechanism, it was for revival of the companies. I feel that comfort to the RA is very important. So, when the resolution applicant comes in and he basically see what assets the company has. So, if now, for instance, the amendment bill, loops in the assets of the subsidiary of the corporate guarantors and the personal guarantors in the CD in the process. So a lot of time, what happens is the plant is in the name of the CD, but the land or the access road is with the personal guarantor. So what is in it for? Like, how will the RA benefit if he does not have the right to access? So grouping of all these assets would not only benefit the RA, but would maximize the value of the CD, which this amendment bill has rightly recognized.
Yes.
Then there is an important change related to the CCI, where previously the all the RAs participating had to take this CCI approval, but now only the successful RA after COC approval has to take the CCI approval. So, it just encourages more participation if the process is made less cumbersome. So, and and even for resolution plan, they have made it two-fold process for NCLT approval, so that the NCLT approves the plan within 30 days. So, those kind of amendments which encourages more participation,
Yes.
and more participation means more competition and price discovery.
True.
So
then it will definitely increase the seriousness amongst the bidders also. A change regarding the dissenting creditors, financial creditors, I would say. So how can you elaborate this?
There were a lot of COCs where creditors who are secured, okay, but might have low voting ratio, or so basically or basically the other way around. So if they are not getting enough value in the plan versus the liquidation value, so it would basically, they would dissent, and basically it would go into liquidation process. So the entire purpose would get defeated, and even the COC members with low voting ratio but would approve it, it would not go through. So now, to discourage that, they have said the dissenting FCs would get the lower of the amount that they would get in 53 or in the resolution plan. So, in that way, they have empowered the COC members, other COC members as well, and to ensure that plans are not disapproved, and they basically get through. So because that was kind of affecting the balance in the whole process.
Right. And if we talk about the timelines, plan approval timelines, does the amendment bill address the approval delays and the timelines also?
Yes, so it does. So basically, in the amendment bill, they have made the plan approval a two-step process, where once the plan is approved by COC, it will be approved for implementation by NCLT. Therefore, the company, if it's a going concern, it will still keep running, and then the distribution will basically be approved at a later stage. So they have made it twofold. How it exactly gets implemented, it'll be good to see, because the lenders or the COC, I would think, would not want to give charge to the RA before the distribution gets approved. It'll be good to see how that gets implemented, or the underlying laws around it.
Liquidation reforms seem quite substantial, and what are the highlights we can see in this bill?
There are substantial, amendments proposed in liquidation. Currently, liquidation is a process which is mostly led by the liquidator. It is there are SEC members, but they are mostly in advisory in nature. So the amendment bill now is extending the CIRP to the liquidation process as well, where the COC will continue and the COC will be empowered in liquidation as well. And there'll not be a fresh need of calling for claims. Everything received during CIRP will continue. So this is obviously the creditors will be empowered, which probably is a good and welcome change again, because SEC members had operational creditors, had government authorities, had all these other members as well, not knowing about what happened in CIRP, and then all of a sudden coming in the liquidation process was confusing for them as well, like what is exactly expected out of them. Although they were as much as you interact with them, you try to bring them on board, but FCs or the COC members are in the best position to make decisions. So yes,
true. And my final question from you is that what defects does the bill actually cure under this?
Definitely addresses a lot of the timelines were already drawn in the code, but it reinforces on the timelines. It basically empowers the committee of creditors, and thereby taking some burden away from the adjudicating authorities and empowering COCs to drive the process along with the RPs. It does bring in more responsibility on RPs, like if in the case of Pvt transactions. But again, if the process is done carefully and following all the processes, I think that should not be a hurdle. And it also encourages AI or tech platform for IBC. So, and I think the government is already working on it, but I think that would be a very, very welcome change, because all of these authorities, whether it's MCA, whether it's income tax, whether it's GST, whether it's RERA, all of them, they have so much information about the corporate debtor, and we are chasing them individually. If all of these information is brought in on one platform and access is given to RP, then I think their reliance on the suspended management, all these non-cooperation would drastically reduce, because you already have so much to basically start from. Because here now what happens is there's very little to start with, so that kind of kills the time itself. So I think that if all these different regulatory bodies, if they are we are able to consolidate information from them, if they get the confidence that he's a court appointed officer, he needs to have access to information without following up, without wasting time. So then that would be an immense contribution to the process.
True. Okay, I should not disclose it, but just to make my audience more curious about it, I just wanted to put a small highlight on this AI thing, that our IPA is also working on this.
Oh, great.
So maybe soon we will be coming up with the full information about it.
Great.
It will take little time.
Yes,
but
yes.
Soon we will be there.
I think that's really, even like in budget, you saw that, government's focus is on getting things automated, getting things more readily, because there's so much of data. The consolidation is what is,
Yes. This is a time-bound process completely, but there are some delays.
Yes.
So do you think this amendment bill will make some impact on making the process faster?
So the amendment bill does lay out a framework, does lay out certain laws that would quicken the process. But how those laws are interpreted, how those laws are actually, applied is what will actually show us that whether it is really bringing about a change. But it does envisage all the delays. It has taken into recognition all the experiences of last 2-3 years. There has been judgments which has caused, because of that, there have been appeals, and for example, like Bhushan Steel, for instance, after the plan was implemented and then it was going back and forth. So, it has tried to address those, but, how these laws are actually acted upon would really tell us that, whether the delays will be reduced. So, but yeah, we hope for the best that,
Hope for the best.
Yes.
That's all what we can say.
Yes.
But I think today our audience would be really beneficiated by all the conversations which we have had about the amendment thing. So, and that was really, like, I would say, guiding the IPs about this stuff. Yeah, that's truly thank you for this thing. But just moving forward about your journey, your insolvency entities journey, what are the, I would say, hiccups which you have faced being an IP? Like, have you ever faced any kind of threat from any stakeholder under this system?
Yeah. So I think that is been there in the journey of almost every IP. Our IP entity was founded by Mr. V.K. Jain, and he was one of the initial RPs. We had done cases where it was an ongoing unit. COVID had set in, and there were like more than 100 workers running that unit. And they were basically, informed or told something about the process and how they would lose their jobs, etc., and everything. So they were in fact coaxed into filing a complaint in IBBI. But it's again stakeholder management. So we had with all these experienced RPs that we had a meeting internally to deal with this issue, and then we had a meeting with the workers. We told them what this process is really, and and that they should keep working. I think it was extremely well managed because during COVID we ensured every worker is paid their salary. The unit was running, every worker was paid salary. A loss-making unit was made a profit-making unit because there were diversions before. So all those was corrected, and that unit was bought by a third party. And then it is now successfully, running. All the workers, their jobs are intact. Again, the workers, the employees are the most important stakeholder.
True.
So it is how you manage them.
Yes,
So
yes.
and these directors, obviously, they are set aback, when their company is taken away from their hands. So they'll try all different means to, they find us as a threat.
Yeah.
Again, if the promoter, if the company directors are genuine, then they should be explained the process. They should, because they are the ones who would give the best value
Yes.
to the company.
Yes.
It's their baby. So they'll give the best value. If they are genuine, they should be included in the process. That's how I feel it should be, along with the creditors. And, because that's how you would maximize. That's how you would ensure that the company is back on its feet and running. So, yeah. That's
we can see that when we get sick, we go to doctor.
Yes.
So doctor treat us and they revive us, I would say. And revival of a company is done by insolvency professionals. So can we say IPs are the doctors of the, I would say, dead companies who are treating the companies and reviving
I think
it?
that's very well put. And I cannot, put enough emphasis the pleasure, the amount of satisfaction it gives you when the company goes back up and running on its feet. And, there are people who have come back to us and they've said, we cannot, even the promoters, the genuine ones who've got their company back, who've come and told us that, we cannot thank you enough for, because COVID had set in a lot of setbacks. So we cannot thank you enough for, bringing this all back together and giving us the creditors' confidence back. It is an immense amount of satisfaction, just like a doctor gets.
I know.
I think IBC 2.0, as this amendment bill is called, will bring in again a lot of changes.
Yes.
And there has been a lot of discipline that has come across,
Yes,
and it will continue to grow that way. And now it will become international, given the cross border. So yes, it will.
Yes. So thank you for explaining this thing. But one line, doctors of IBC are IPs. Yeah, I would say your journey, that was also truly motivating. That you started from the overseas, you left the organizations, big organizations, came to India just to pursue this field, and that was really beneficial for the, I would say, Indian economy also, that they have IPs like you working for them. And KDRA is also a well-known organization, IP. Your father, Mr. V.K. Jain, he's
yes.
also well-known amongst one of the well-known IPs. How does he deal? Like, you both are IPs.
Yes.
So that would be really, like, आप लोगों की conversations होती होंगी, so he would always discuss about these things, right?
It's actually true, actually. So he's always been in industry as well, and he's always been immense amount of guidance to the entire organization. We have 15 to 16 IPs with us right now, and we all work together, which the experienced RPs who have been in industries and the experienced in IPs who have been in banks, and from these different sectors, they bring in perspective of the different stakeholders. What is the COC thinking? What is the promoter thinking? What is the employee thinking? And that's how you listen to everybody.
Yes.
But you take an informed decision.
Yeah.
That this is what is right for the process. This is what is going to meet the essence of the code.
I know.
We have thankfully grown very well under his guidance, and we'll continue to grow. And thank you so much for inviting me to this session.
Thank you.
And it was a lovely session.
Thank you. All the best for
Thank
your
you.
future journey in this IBC ecosystem. May you treat many other companies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that was all for today. I think if we can summarize the whole episode, then it was really about the amendment bill. We have discussed about it, your journey. We have discussed about that too. About KDRA, that is also one of the, I would say, most important organization who is developing our profession by working hard under this ecosystem. Thank you on the behalf of IPA of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Thank you once again. Hope we will do many more episodes with your organization, someone else. I would request Mr. V.K. Jain also to be a part of our podcast series.
Yes.
So thank you once again. This was, I would say, not the end of the series, but this is the end of the episodes, which we are concluding right now. So thank you to the audience for listening us. This is the third podcast for IPs. We all know that we are also coming up with the episodes for the stakeholders and the IBC ecosystem. Soon we are going to launch first episode of the stakeholders under this IBC ecosystem. So thank you. Goodbye. Take care. Sayonara.